Good morning, horse friends. Today is an exciting day. We've got a 2-year-old Oldenburg that just moved in yesterday. So I know this channel is fairly new, so most of the horses you've seen me working with have been here for a little bit. They've all been training horses, but they've been here for a little bit. Today you're going to see my first session with this horse. All right, so he's not halter broke, just moved in yesterday. I don't know anything about him, so let's get ready to have some fun. I'm Steve Andrews, and this is The Natural Horseman. So we can see right away that this guy is super curious and super confident as he's following this cat down the fence line, But, again, he just got here yesterday. I don't know anything about him. He's a 2-year-old Oldenburg. He's a big, big baby. But the idea of these first couple of days is really just to get to know him, see who he is, see what he knows, see what he doesn't know, what does he need to know. I do know for a fact that he's not halter broke at all. Okay, you can get a halter on him, but he doesn't understand it at all, and I figured that out instantly yesterday when we went to pick him up. That he doesn't understand how to operate on a halter. Okay, so he's pretty curious to come up, pretty confident to come up and say hi. I need to watch out for these different body languages that he's, his different body language what he's offering me. And I noticed he walked right up to me, no issue. He had no problem walking his shoulder past me and putting his hip past me. That's all stuff to pay attention to. He's super curious about Krista on the camera there. He's not bothered by me having this halter, so he's a pretty confident dude. He's just a really big baby. He doesn't, a little flinch there with me reaching out to him, but seeing how confident he is, I feel okay getting in and rubbing on him pretty good, even with that little flinch. I'm not going to tickle him. I don't want to touch him real lightly, just getting a feel for him real quick. I don't think he's going to connect or relate to a really super light, careful, sneaky kind of a touch. It might feel a little creepy to him. So I'm going to really reach out, make some solid contact with him. I'll move myself around a little bit. Yeah, he's pretty tame. He's really cool. I'll approach his other side, see if he's okay with me being over here. Again, a horse like this, I want to really reach out and touch him. Also knowing right there, his shoulder's coming into me, okay? So he doesn't really understand boundaries. I'm not going to get on his case too much quite yet. We'll start addressing these things in a minute. And what you want to be careful of is, with a horse like this, see he's kind of nipping on me there? That's all curiosity and confidence coming out. What you want to be careful of is you need to teach them the boundaries and structure, right? Because they're big animals, and compared to them, we're dainty little creatures. But at the same time, while we're teaching them boundaries and structures, you don't want to knock that curiosity and that confidence out of them. So it's a fine balance there. I'm sure you've all heard of horsemen talk about feel, timing, and balance. Well, balance is a very deep topic. They're all feel and timing and balance. They're all deep. But balance. So the first balance I like to start developing with a tame horse is a balance of confidence and control. Or some of you have heard me say it's a balance of rapport and respect. Can you get a video of that? Did you see that? He's not drinking water. He's sticking his whole face in there and playing with it. He's going to be fun. So I think that's the first thing you guys are going to see me start to address, or we're going to start, like, look at this. This is not okay to be squeezing me between him and the post. But you're going to start to see me address some of these boundary issues, and you'll see me toeing the line of keeping that confidence and curiosity, but also establishing myself as the alpha of the herd. So I'm going to allow him to play with this water. I'm going to move myself away from the fence, so I'm in a safer place to be putting this halter on him. See if we can get him to be curious about me being in his space. This area has now become his space. Okay, here he comes. Pretty confident dude. See what he thinks of that halter. You notice he reached out and touched that halter. So I feel pretty confident with reaching out and touching him with it. I'm going to slip up to his side here. Now this halter's ready to go. This horse isn't halter broke. He doesn't know how to put his head in this halter yet. He's trying to bite it and eat it there. Okay, but I'm going to take you guys through this whole process. This is exciting because just because we can get a halter on him doesn't mean he's halter broke. Just because you can get a saddle on a horse doesn't mean they're a broke riding horse. Okay, so right here I'm just going to set some boundaries. Okay, this is my space. And what you saw me do there was I used herding pressure to own my space. And that's how horses communicate with each other. They're herd animals. They use herding pressure to own a particular space. Okay, this is going to be my space. So right here, his nose and his head coming into my space, that didn't work for him. So he's saying, well, maybe what about my shoulder? And he's not trying to be pushy. All right, this is just horse instinct. Okay, so horses will use this body language, use this language to really seek what they're looking for. They're looking for safety, comfort, leadership, and responsibility. Those four ingredients for survival and for partnership. Okay, so they test the leader, they test the alpha, they test you to see, are you a good enough leader to keep me alive? Okay, it's instinctual. It's not to be naughty or pushy. So all I'm doing here is owning my space. I'm just teaching him this right here. This is my space right now. Okay, I want you to respect that. Notice I'm not hauling off and smashing him. I'm just owning my space. I'll do enough, just enough, to cause him to respect it but not be afraid of it. Okay. See if you can hang out with me here for a minute. Okay, there he's curious about me. I'm going to allow him to come in to a certain extent. Okay. If he's curious and reaching out, almost like he's asking permission to come in, I'll allow him to. And when I start feeling his lips, when I start feeling that curiosity become, I don't want to call it naughty, but a little bit naughty, a little bit pushy, I'm going to take the hard end of my rope here and I'm going to own my space. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. All right. Make sure I reach out to him. Let him know I'm not upset with him. Just getting to know each other. All right. So as we go through this session, through all these sessions with this horse, I want you to keep in mind, to build a solid relationship with the horse, it takes 4 key ingredients. You need to be a provider of safety, a provider of comfort, a provider of leadership, and a provider of responsibility. Okay, those 4 ingredients are more powerful than a pocket full of cookies. A pocket full of cookies is comfort. People are really good at comfort, but we're not so good at providing safety, leadership, and responsibility to horses. Okay, so those 4 ingredients are what I'm looking for to develop a relationship with this horse. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to start to do is put him into motion. Okay, so I'm going to start to own his space. I'm going to step in, own the space where his nose and his front feet are. Okay, now he's allowed to move. Right, I just own that space. I just let him know that's my space. He's allowed to move. So I'm going to allow him to move his feet around me. Then I'm going to see if I can cause his attention to come back to me in a respectful way. All right, so I claim the space where he was, which is going to start to establish me as the leader of this herd. To start to, see what I did there? To start to bring his connection to me, I'm going to start playing with his hindquarters. Mostly his hindquarters. I'm really going to use his whole body. I'm going to use body language and communication and the 5 essential yields that you guys hear me talk about to communicate with him. But the quickest way to his mind is by moving and influencing his hindquarters. Okay, so influencing his hindquarters like that brought his attention back to me pretty quickly. So something else we're doing, just by kind of going through this nonchalantly, however you say that goofy word, it's really going to cause him to be curious about me and not necessarily not be afraid of me. Okay. I'm going to own his space again. So I'm going to where his shoulders were, and I'm owning that space. All right. He says, I gotta leave. That's fine. Horses are flight animals. Okay. There, he connected on his own that time. That was cool. I'm not asking for any type of direction. I'm just owning space. Okay. Now I want to reach out. Let him know we're still good. I'm going to own the space where his nose and shoulders are. Okay. You guys see me swinging my rope there. I'm not going after him. What I'm doing is I'm owning this space around me. Okay, because we can't stand here all day, every day. We got to put these boundaries into motion. But I'm owning that space around me, and then I'm going in and owning the spot where he is. That's herding pressure. Okay. If I were to go after him and chase him, that's not herding pressure, that's chasing pressure. Or that wouldn't be fair. I'm more likely to scare him if I'm chasing him. So I'm owning my space here. I'm going to own his space. He's not sure what to do with that. He's jumping up and down. All right, so I'm just going to kind of stick in here with him. Let this silly guy figure this out. I'm going to step in, see what he does. If he comes into my space, I'm going to be a little bit bigger. So horses will, out of survival, push into pressure. Okay, so if he's going to come into my space and challenge that, I'm going to have to get a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to have a bit more of a follow through to say, that's not the right answer. That's not going to work here. All right, so owning my space, standing still. Step in, own his space in motion. Okay, now right here, there's really no answer. There's no right or wrong answer here. The only wrong answer is he's not allowed to run away. Now, if you were working with a horse that was more timid or flighty, they would try to run away, and in that instance, I would shut that down. I would allow them to move their feet. I would allow them to move their feet, but I would not allow them to move their feet in a way that was encouraging them to run away. Okay? So I'd be quick to take their hindquarters away and set them into motion laterally. Okay? Well, right here, we're just dealing with a kind of a confident naughty boy here. All right, so I want to own the space where his shoulders and his front feet are. Okay, and see if he can just move out of that space. Now what I like, you guys are already seeing some lunging starting to shape up, because as I'm owning the space where his nose and his shoulder are, where they're currently at, he's starting to figure out that he's got to yield around me, especially with his nose and his shoulder. Okay, especially with his nose and his shoulder. Right there was a runaway. Like, hey, you know, it wasn't runaway out of fear, but kind of out of orneriness. All right, you guys could all see that. So I shut that down by taking a hold of the rope and taking his hindquarters away from him. The good thing about that is he was yielding around me. He wasn't doing that through my space. All right. So these little pieces, it doesn't have to look like training, but it can shape up something for you really cool, really quick. Okay, I'm protecting my space. I'm going to step in and own his space. Right where his nose and his shoulders are. That's the important key there. Right there, as horses start to leave and take their noses away, I'm going to close my hand, and that's going to take their hindquarters away. All right, I'm not going to play tug of war. I'm going to take their hindquarters away real quick. Say, you know what? The answer is not run away. We're going to shorten that flight line. Okay, you're not allowed to run away. Because we're thinking about, yeah, good boy. One day we're going to want to ride this colt, right? We're going to want to ride him. You don't want that horse thinking he can run away with you. Okay, confidence and control, like I said on the start. Balance, confidence, and control. So I'm owning my space right here. I'm using this overhand swing because I can see he can be a pretty naughty dude. Then I'm going to own his space. I'm going to say, don't run away though. Don't run away though. If I were to take a solid hold, you know, a halter is a lot like a hackamore, and that if you're using it properly, you're really using it like a hackamore. So this rope in my hand, every time you guys see me use it, when I'm attaching this to his nose, I use it exactly like I would use a rein if I were sitting on top of him. Right, that's how I'm taking his hindquarters away. I'm setting up this angle as if I were on the saddle to take his hindquarters away. And if you want to get really tricky with it, if you have a really keen eye for it, and with practice you will get this, if you take the hindquarters away in time with the outside hind leaving the ground, there's not much they're going to do to brace against that. So you're really going to start connecting the rein and their brain to their feet. All right, and they'll start to learn super, super quick. You guys know why. I'm asking you this like you can answer me and I can hear you, but you guys know why getting to a horse's feet is so effective in their learning process? Okay, if you think about it, the alpha horse in a herd. The alpha horse is alpha not because he's necessarily the most confident one or the most anxious one or the super survivor, fill in the blank. There's not much rhyme or reason to that, as you guys have probably all noticed. But it's the horse who understands how to direct and control the motion of the herd, right? The motion of the rest of the animals. Okay, and that's what you're going to find. So if we can influence their feet, they're really going to start to become super learners on the ground and under saddle. So it's super important that as you guys are learning how to use these halters and halter ropes, think of them as no different than a rein. Okay? So if I'm using herding pressure to move this horse's front end over or to claim his space, I can set up a turn on the haunches, right? Just as I would in the saddle. So I'd pick his nose up and send it that way, which is going to elevate his shoulders. Pick his nose up, send it that way, then own the space. Okay? We can start to set up a turn on the haunches. It doesn't even feel like we're training him. Okay? Right there as he came into my space, something I did was I took his hindquarters away, I suppled him up, just took the hindquarters away and then blocked his nose. And that's going to take that forward momentum from going through my space and it's going to yield him laterally away from me. Okay, right here he's just trying to figure out these aids. Again, he's not halter broke, he doesn't know what to do with this stuff. So he's figuring all this stuff out. And right now it's important for me to allow him to figure it out, but if he starts fighting or throwing a little tantrum, I'm gonna interrupt that. Okay? He needs to figure this stuff out, he needs to understand it. Guide him off to the side, off to my right, and then I'm gonna own the space where his front feet and his nose are. See, all this, he's confused. He's like, well, he's telling me to move, but then I can't run away. He's, why can't I run away? What's this weird thing on my face? If you think about it from his perspective, wearing this thing is a big deal. Wearing this thing is a big, big deal. That guy. I'm just gonna check back in with him. Confidence and control. I want him to be confident in me. I'm not trying to beat him up or be super bossy or just want to build his confidence in me and my aids, build confidence in him being able to handle energy, him being able to handle direct pressure, all the things he's going to need to survive in our world. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to own the space where his shoulders are. Yep, that's okay. I'll just try it again. Own the space where his shoulders are. Good. There's the runaway. If you watch the timing on that, if you can take a hold of their nose just like you would a rein, English or Western, doesn't matter what costume you wear, just like you would a rein in time with that outside hind, they're not going to be able to brace against that very hard. And also, you're going to get to their brain, through the rein, down to the foot really quick. All right. We'll do just a little bit more with him here today. I want to keep these sessions short. He's only 2. He's just figuring this stuff out. Okay, he's reaching his head way up high. Something I'm going to do to discourage the rearing. Okay, I'm going to bring the rope way up in the air, but I'm going to be quick to release as soon as the back feet start to loosen up. Okay, so I don't want him thinking or learning that there's an escape by putting your head up in the air. Okay, that's never going to work for you. I'm going to block over here. Own that space, up high, his head came down, his back end loosened up, and he went forward. I backed off, okay? Not that I'm chasing him anyway, I'm just owning space, but I stopped swinging that rope to tell him, yes, you're on the right track, dude. That's it, my man. Not allowed to run away. Keep your front end out. All right, so something else you'll notice in these very, very basic initial foundational steps. I'm teaching this horse, just like all the young horses that come to me, teaching them not to fall in on the circle. You know, you're going to get to loping them around riding 20-meter circles one day, doing 10-meter circles on him once he's older. Okay, so many people have issues with horses falling in on the shoulder. Well, if I were teaching him point, cluck, spank, every time I send him around me, he falls in on the shoulder. I'm not teaching him that. I'm teaching him, as I own your space, you elevate. There's some elevation. You elevate your shoulders and yield around me. When I take those hindquarters away, keep those shoulders out. There he crossed over. There he crossed over in the front, instead of falling forward on the front and coming in and crowding my space. So all this can be done by just proper handling on the start. You can prevent a lot of these issues that you might run into later on down the road. So I'm not pulling him, I'm owning space, which is pushing. Okay, just like you push your turns when you're sitting on them, you push. Okay, push, own the space, that's hurting pressure, and then catch the nose so they don't run away. Catching the nose not only encourages them to not run away, but also starts to develop your hindquarter communication, and it's going to start to turn into our lateral yields. Own the space. The answer's not. They run through your space like that. One of the best things to do is either get out of the way. If they're going to run over you, get the heck out of the way. Or if they're running through you like that, is kind of a challenge. What I'll do is exactly what you saw me do. I'll take their hindquarters away real quick. Okay, here he goes. He's about to do it again. Hindquarters away real quick. And that forward momentum is going to throw their shoulders out and away from me. Okay, it's going to throw their shoulders out and away. So not only, see, a lot of times in these hindquarter yields, we forget about the rest of the body. Okay, if we're only thinking about the hindquarters, we forgot about the nose and the shoulder, and we're losing a lot of leadership and relationship points. Okay, so that's something to really be aware of. When I take those hindquarters away, I need that shoulder to yield out as well. Own that space. Good. Hey, that was much better. Own that space where his nose and shoulder are. Good boy. Okay. Again, if he's going to run through me with that shoulder, I'm going to catch those hindquarters real quick. Catch those hindquarters real quick. Take that momentum and shove it to the side. Okay. He's going to suck backwards here. I mean, he's trying. This is a lot of information for him in day one. All right, so he's trying all these different answers. I'm going to move over here to the side to give him somewhere to go. I don't want to jump in front of him and cause him to feel trapped. Okay, there we go. Again, what I'm looking for is for that nose to yield a little bit. He's going to go up. I'm going to bring my aids up with him. When that nose comes down and the hindquarters break loose, I'm going to back off a little bit. Again, right there, he's feeling a little trapped. Make sure you don't cause your horses to feel trapped. Just get out of the way. Okay, I'm going to own this space over here. So I'm not sure what you're after over here. The answer's not over there. If you want to get to the mares, you can go around this way. I'm going to own this space. Good. Own this space. Good. Release with the polite forward motion. Okay. Own this space here. Hold that space. Release when the hindquarters give with that nice forward motion. All right, so I'm gonna rub on him a little bit here. We're gonna finish this session up. That was a lot of information for a little guy, for a young guy. He's big. For a young guy just figuring out the halter and just figuring me out. So he's saying his brain's about done with this. So I'm gonna rub on him, offer him some comfort now. Okay, we did lots of leadership for this horse. And again, this is this horse specifically, that approach you guys saw me take. Okay. We'll get this halter taken off of him. We'll try this again tomorrow. I appreciate you guys checking in. If this was helpful to you, feel free to subscribe to our page. We have lots more of this stuff coming up and a lot of other videos for you guys to check out. So thanks for checking in, and we'll see you guys soon. Good boy. Good work today, man. Good work today. You're so smart. Why are you so smart?